I've had a little play with the layout of this, and there's a few things I'm going to change now. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the good layer management. Again, this is a skill you're using, so I did show you in the previous tutorial, but all the different components now of the poster are in a set order in folders. Again, you can layer things on top of layers. So for example, if the background accidentally got moved up to the front, let's try that again. The background's now on top of other things and you can't see them. So again, even within folders, you need to get all your layers in a correct pattern. And once everything's ordered, you can see it the way it should be seen. So what we're going to look for now is the offer box in the bottom left. It's nice and neat in here now, and I'm going to work on the box itself. So I did show you the border on this, but I'm going to go a little bit deeper into this now. And first thing I want to do, actually, something I might want to do is I might want to change the size of the box. So at the moment, if you go up or down, it's shrinking it sideways as well, as you can see. Now, the problem with that is when you look at this, there's this thing here called keep aspect ratio. So what that means is it's going to hold the width and the height at a set ratio together. So it's a bit like dragging in from the corner. It's locked to move in at a set ratio. If you want it completely free and flexible, if you click on this lock here, it removes that, and then it creates that flexibility, as you can see, to make the box whatever shape and size you want. So again, we can get the text dead central. I don't fully like this box having no border. So if you look at it at the moment, the box has no border whatsoever. I did put one on, but it didn't look very good. So I'm going to double click on the offer box here. And I'm going to go back to the stroke. And remember, the stroke box 1, stroke box 2. Remember, stroke defines the outline at the size of the box. So it's set to red at the moment, and I can increase the size like that. Now, one thing I want to point out here is that red is a colour which hits the eye straight away. It's a very strong colour. So because this is the offer and we want to draw people in, we might leave it at red. We might not do. The other thing about red as well is it ties in with the logo colour scheme. So at the moment, I'm going to keep it like that. I'm happy with that. So I click OK. I'm going to set this box. Again, as the poster goes along, if I start putting things together and things need tweaking or changing, I can tweak or change as I go along. I can use the arrow keys as well to move things, so I have a bit more control using the arrow keys because I'm moving up and down like that. Second thing I'm going to do is this logo at the bottom. So if I then close this folder, I'm going to go to the footer logo. Now this at the bottom here, it's got the name and the strap line on. But I think what I'm going to do, because the name and the strap line are coming through on the background here, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop this box down. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Put that in a space where I can work on it. And I'm just going to have the images because I want people to get familiar with the logo, but they don't necessarily need the name and the strap line because they're already here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the crop tool. So on the crop tool, just click off that again. So on the crop tool, I'm going to right click and I'm going to look at cropping this shape here. Now the problem you've got is when you're going on to crop at the moment, what it's doing, so if I click on crop, if I chop something down, it's taking the whole poster. And I don't want it to do that. So if I press enter, the whole poster's gone. So I'm going to have to go edit undo. And I think to myself, that's no good. I don't want that. So if I click on this part here of the logo, what I can do is I can use the selector tool here. So I can select the rectangle and just select this part of the logo and or even the bottom part of the logo. So just select that part of the logo there. This is the bit I don't want. I press the delete key. It wants it rasterizing first, so let's go to image layer, I should say, rasterize. Press delete this time, and it just deletes that bit off. So again, select, deselect. Now if you look at that now, because the white is a little bit rough at the edges, I might want to remove all of that. If I wanted a quick way of doing this, what I will do is I'll go back to the actual original image in the assets folder, and I'd actually chop this down and make a proper second logo as an SVG. But for the purpose of this exercise, I'm just showing you different skills, and this just shows another skill you can show to the moderator when he has a look at your work and marks it. So the more skills you have in your toolbox, the more things you can try out and experiment, the higher marks you're going to get when you go and do your live coursework. So I'm going to go to my selector again. I might zoom in a little bit this time. Again, because I'm practicing skills, and I'm going to select. Not that, I don't like that. Select, deselect. I'm going to go as tight as I can to this edge. Let's take that off again. Delete that off and go select, deselect. Now, it doesn't fully matter if there's a little bit of white left in the background at the moment, because when I drop this down to this section, I might put a white box around it, as you're going to see in a minute. If you look at that at the moment, all the proportions are not working very well. So what I'm going to do is go edit undo, and we're going to use that tool again. So if I click on this and click on this, I'm going to lock the aspects. So this time, when I size and desize it, it locks it into position. So I'm going to go out again. So what I'm going to do this time, and you'll see why I've decided to keep this white, is I'm going to create an extra box, a white background around this. I'm going to put the web address of the website for the company underneath. So let's take a shape before I do any fills. I'm going to put a shape here. Again, I'm going to tidy this up and put it into my layer palette. And this shape, I'm going to use the fill bucket. I want it to be white, so just use the picker actually and make it white. And then I'll make sure my paint bucket's selected. And layer is not editable again. I keep doing this. I need to rasterize the layer. And this time, I click on the shape and rasterize it. It makes it white like that. So the logo now is behind the shape. So this is where your good folder organisation needs to come into this, because all of these are in the footer. So the background for the footer is right at the back. So I need to put this into that position, and I'm going to call this white shape. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop in the web address under there. I'm going to tidy up these images, have a play with those kind of effects, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.